you know, that ability to use it to bring people out as well as people bringing themselves out is fun and useful. Sometimes, you know, just to get people to start, tell me something you know about yourself that, you know, in a very specific, and that creates that point of view and creates all that. Of course, you guys are way ahead of the game because you have a whole array of them to work with and to play with. Molly?
Do you suggest also using your myth as a path through and going through like
Yes, but
screens of that?
but the myth is a little bit tougher to use because it's a much more generalized, constant experience than pinpointing various parts. But I would certainly take your myth word if it doesn't happen to be a neighborhood word. In some cases, folks' myth word is also represented in their neighborhoods. But when it isn't, I would take and develop an intriguing list for your myth word as well, so you see the extremes, you see other versions of it. It reminds you of occurrences in your life, which is essentially what I do a mini version of in the myth workshop. But yeah, I think the myth is another entrance. It's another set of personalized stimulus buttons, you know. Yeah, Jeff.
This might not be a fully formed question, but with the myth, sometimes we play against that. So trust might be a lack of trust.
Well, myth is all of these things, your neighborhoods, and this is a hard thing to remember because we live in a world of yes, no, either or, Republican or Democrat. You know, we live in a world that says there's this or there's that. So to understand all of these things as a spectrum is a little foreign, and we have to remind ourselves. But all of your neighborhood words and your myth word are a spectrum. So if you have the curious myth, you have absolutely incurious as one extreme of it. I'm not interested in anything. I don't want to know anything. All the way to Snoopy, so curious it rules your life. You own all of that. So yes, the opposites are naturally implied. So when I give you the word, you know, or you're working with associated myths or myths that are also part of your life because they were moms or dads or all these myths that we're familiar with as well as all myths, you always have to say to yourself, oh, I've got to consider the whole spectrum because we'll tend to...
Right, so to get to the question then, with the neighborhoods then, we've got a spectrum within each of these neighborhoods. But
right.
in the homework we're doing, aren't you mostly pulling from synonyms?
Yes.
Would it be useful to enter a neighborhood and look at some of the antonyms?
Yes, it absolutely would be interesting. And sometimes what we have done in our site, sources don't do this, they list antonyms separately. But sometimes in our site, in various words, we've thrown antonyms in there just to get people to begin to be aware of the spectrum. For example, going back to mine, just because I love her face, so it's fun. You know, if you've got the myth of worry, she also owns inside that myth absolutely worryless. Just doesn't give a shit, isn't it? And Mai will tell you that she sometimes has that, where I should have thought before I did, oh my God, I can't believe, I just lurched, you know, because of course, if she owns the extreme of worrying about every detail in every moment, which she has moments of, she has the middle of it, which is just sort of natural worry like we all have, and then she also has experienced the other side of it, which is, oh my God, I didn't even think, you know, and so, yeah.
What do you recommend doing?
It's good to see you, by the way.
Hey, good to see you. What do you recommend doing when it's a scene with another person's dialogue? Do you recommend like pulling out all of your words and going through it
Well,
as
I'll tell you,
monologue,
I'm going to tell you my practical thing to that. I think that it is great to put on your, now you can do it on your iPhone, any place you can. You used to have to record it, but just record their lines with the space for your lines, so you've got them there, and you know, just do a nice neutral version of them as if they're reading with you, and then use the technique I described, your side. Go through it once, bleeding heart, go through it once. You know, if it happens that your side of that dialogue, your character has an extreme demand, or just go through your side of it, neighborhood to neighborhood to neighborhood, for more generalized personalization, you know, that isn't extremes, which you'll find on your intriguing lists. So yeah, that's just a technological way to accomplish that kind of rehearsal, and then you don't need to, you know, ask your husband or boyfriend to do it. You know, you can, because you know they hate that. And then they start directing you, and then you get in a fight, and it's just not worth it. Better to, use the iPhone or the cassette recorder and just record a partner for yourself.
So kind of don't have a reaction to it, just stay
I would
with-
read the other person's dialogue fairly neutrally, and then do all the experimentation on your side of it. Sure. What? Yes, ma'am. It's good to see you too.
Yeah, you remember,
I know.
right?
Of course I remember.
Changed
Although
my
your
name.
hair's lighter.
Yeah.
And how's your new baby?
Good. Very good.
I was so glad to hear that. That's sweet.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I was gonna say that, when I came to you, I think I hadn't worked in a couple of years, and then I got a movie right after that, and then I've gotten a couple of series since then. And then
I know. You were one of those on two series at once people. I love that.
Yeah, and I used it because my myth was extreme, which is like, for me, was like, what does that mean? What do I do? But it kind of, I just did an episode of The Closer, and I played a sociopath, and I was like, but I'm compassionate, and I'm a worrier, and I'm blah, blah, blah. And then I went, oh yeah, but he said that I'm also the exact opposite, which is mean I care nothing, or, so I had to close it off, and the real reason that I want you to know I was working, so you guys. The real reason that I raised my hand is because I use it more in my real life than I have anything. Like, I really have a better understanding of myself. Like, my father was very wealthy, my mother was very poor, they were divorced. So I started like looking at all these things that I had kind of built my walls or my life or my choices of these decisions of somebody who is all or nothing. And so it's just given me like such a, I'm kind of always more confident, I guess. I guess that's what I have felt in the last couple of years.
Well, I'm happy for that. This was designed to be a working tool, practical tool for actors to get better pictures, to get more personalized performances. And of course, for different ones of us, it spills over into other parts of life. Sometimes not for a while, and then all of a sudden it starts being in other, some people not. But when that does, and if it helps in that sphere, I'm happy with
So
that.
much.
I'm happy. It was also fun to watch when the two shows were on, and even though I know they weren't shooting necessarily simultaneously, but it was fun because watching you do two fairly different
You're right.
sides.
I played a lawyer and then
yeah.
a poor single mom with no money. And
Yeah, I
something
mean,
like
she
that.
was playing trailer trash and a high-powered LA lawyer on another show, and to watch them both be you.
Yeah.
And even though they were very different kinds of characters, and one might think, well, I'm more right for one than I am for the other, and you found a way to be right for both of them. That was a pleasure for me, besides I love seeing you guys working whenever you are, but that was really fun to be able to see you simultaneously work with the same group of things and shift it over here to an entirely different socioeconomic kind of thing. It was fun to watch that.
Because I was one that came to you and said, I know what I'm not, but I don't know what I am.
Yeah.
And how can I figure that out? And I'm 38 and I still didn't, so at that time it was really important. It's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
I was just gonna say, I had the same experience and on a personal level too. Just in general, like magnetizing different things in my life, really, really strong, and also feeling more comfortable like she does in so many situations. There's my whole thing about repelling and attracting, and now I understand it more now. Like I was at the nail salon and there was these two chicks that were like the whole time, and I'm like, normally that would hurt my feelings, but now I'm just like, okay, you're just like attracted to not liking me this whole time I'm gonna be in here. Like it really just, I mean, really, I just felt really comfortable with that, and just also just people in my life, I'm seeing a weird, like, strange respect, like a lot of just respect, maybe because I'm just more comfortable.
Well,
like,
yeah,
just
and
more,
I
like,
think
buzzing.
also the process forces us to notice some things operating in life, because now they have names that we, and for one reason or another, didn't see, or maybe purposely didn't want to see, or whatever. And now that we've named them, even sometimes the rougher stuff, we go, oh, well, that's just that. They're criticizing something, and good, that's just information, sure enough, I'm me. We can receive a lot of information differently because, you know, it's fairly confronting, not so much that the information that happens in the course is confronting, but to have that much reaction to oneself that's actually put down somewhere in that short of time is confronted just in and of itself.